Hey guys, how's it going? Mega Gears here. So I decided to do my discussion video on Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt. Now the reason I decided to start off with this mainly is because Gundam is a franchise that scares a whole bunch of people off, and I can't blame them. You have the UC timeline, which is the Universal Century timeline, which is the main continuity, I guess the original timeline. Then you have the alternate timelines and all these spin-offs, and it just gets complicated. Gundam Thunderbolt takes place in the original UC timeline from the first couple animes, but the thing is, it's written in a way where you don't really need to know all the extra stuff. If you've seen the original Gundam shows, you can get into this. If you haven't, the story is really a self-contained battle so far from the first couple manga I've read and for the beginning OVA that you don't really need to know about all this stuff because it's mainly focused on the characters. And I gotta let you know, the two main characters, Daryl Lawrence and Io Fleming, are pretty neat. I think a lot of people are going to be biased and probably lean more towards Daryl Lawrence because he really, in the first couple volumes or first season of the OEVA, from what I've read so far and from what I've seen so far from the OVA, has lost the most. You get a lot more character development with him. It seems Io Fleming gets more development in the second season of the OVA and further volumes down the line. Now, the reason why it's called Thunderbolt is because the fight's going on in the Thunderbolt sector, and the fight's gone on for a really long time. So they're trying to stop these resources from going past this section, right? The Thunderbolt sector. You find out that a whole bunch of the debris is scattered out from a space colony, which turns out was Io Fleming's home. He was the son of an aristocrat and all this other type of stuff. Now the thing is, both of them, the manga and the show, provide a different experience because both the characters are really into music. And music plays a really big part of it, especially when you're watching the anime. Daryl Lawrence is into like old classic pop tunes from the 60s. Io Fleming is really into ragtime jazz, which plays very interesting with their fight styles, I guess, or war fighting tactics. But I think what'll really bring people into this is that the characters are pretty interesting, and the show, it gets kind of dark. I'll be honest about that. Gundam's always been this show where a lot of the cast dies, and this one is really can be kind of sad at times because this is one of the things that kind of comes in. If you've checked out some of the stuff with UC timeline with the original shows, it kind of makes the scene of the characters more desperate. So Io Fleming, he's with the Earth Federation, Zeon Federation, right? They're the colonies that are trying to fight back to get back on Earth, right? Now, originally in the original animes and everything like that, Zeon was always like the bad guys, right? They were like the Empire, they were all evil. Earth Federation was the good guys, they were the heroes, they were the rebellion, all that type of stuff. And this one, this is why Thunderbolt's so good, is because it's a lot more morally gray. A lot of people that fight for Zeon, like Daryl Lawrence, don't want to be a part of this war. Nobody wants to be a part of this conflict. People have been forced and tossed aside to this war because they have no choice, right? Daryl Lawrence he's like a quadruple amputee, right? You find out that he was on a beach fighting for Zeon. He was a foot soldier. As soon as he lands on the beach on Earth, he steps on a landmine. His legs get blown off. Why did he get in the war? You find out that for his dad to get treatment, he had to become a citizen for Zeon. So in order to become a citizen, he fights for Zeon and loses his legs in the process. So you start to find out the wheels turn in his head. He's really a chill, laid-back guy that just wants, just peace and happiness. In this world, Gundam, not really gonna get that. Io Fleming is really into jazz. He seems really carefree, the hot shot of Earth Federation, right? He gets a Gundam later on, and he's the best pilot. You find out his carefree personality really isn't very carefree, and he's kind of got some really jacked up emotional baggage with things that's happened to his family, the losses that he's had to deal with, And his carefree personality and his obsession with jazz music is really a coping mechanism. And that's where you start to see that even though the characters are very different, I.O. Fleming and Daryl Lawrence, they're actually a lot more similar. That's what makes it work. The two main leads get the most time in the manga and in the OVA. The supporting characters are cool, but they don't get as much development in the first couple volumes. I think later on you get more of that. They have a best friend who's kind of the glue of the group, the one who's really reasonable and tries to keep everyone together. Their other friend, she is actually the leader of the Earth Federation. She's the ship's captain because the original captain died, and you start to see that everyone is really getting worn out, ragged. This battle's gone on for so long, everybody's just frazzled. They're just on edge 24/7. And that's what makes this so gritty, is that you get caught up in the middle of the war. It's not the beginning of the fight, it's like in the middle, towards the end of this squabble conflict. So everyone's already lost a lot. They're low on rations, they're low on everything. Those that are trying to get further in the sector are blocked by debris of the space colony that got blown up. So you can't just fly in there because you'll get sniped by Zeon or the Earth Federation. So those are the main things about the manga and the OVA. I think it's probably the easiest to get into because even though you don't know much about the whole UC timeline, they don't really get into it. It's really focused on this self-contained battle between Earth Federation and Zeon and the two main characters. Be honest, Daryl Lawrence is probably one of my favorite characters out of it because he's just doesn't want to be a part of this. There's a love interest that you meet called Carla Meacham, and she's the scientist that develops this Zaku, this ship that he ends up, this mech that he ends up piloting, which is crazy powerful. It actually is on par with the Gundam, and if you know anything, the Gundam is like the OP ship, right? The OP mech to be piloted. He ends up sacrificing everything to pilot this thing, and him and Carla Meacham, well, they end up kind of working together, and she starts to form a romance, but with Gundam shows, romances never really work out very well. But I haven't gotten towards that part of the later manga, so I'm just really talking about the first two. And the first two, it's just a lot of action and just stuff blowing up. You get character development, you get these two characters, and they kind of grow and progress over the first couple manga that I've read. So yeah, if you want to get in and check out Gundam, this is probably the best one to get into because you don't have the annoying angsty teenage protagonist. Everyone's an adult in here, so you don't have to worry about the stupid love triangles. There's really no time for that. And if you want some interesting characters with interesting viewpoints, you get some of that as well. No one is just one-dimensional for the most part. Everyone has a reason why they do what they do. Some people have been blackmailed to fight for the Zeon. Some people have been held ransom, and they have to be enabled to ensure their family get protected, have to work with Zeon. Some people are just stuck in this crummy situation. The Earth Federation don't want to be in this war. A whole bunch of them were just spoiled rich brats, or just normal people, and they got screwed and stuck to be a mechanic or a pilot for these G model Gundams or GM mechs. So that's the main thing. The story and everything's pretty self-contained. So if you're interested in jumping into Gundam, this would be your best bet. This is a pretty good one to jump into, along with Gundam Iron Blood Orphans, which doesn't have a manga, I don't believe, but is a pretty good 50-episode anime. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next.